Hello wizards, I'm back in my channel to explain and clarify all your doubts from chapter number 5, the fundamental unit of life. Students, I had explained about a cell, its definition, its type, its shape, size, everything in the introductory videos. So today I shall cover up the following topic. Today I shall discuss about the structure of the cell. So basically this video contains the plasma membrane, cell wall, nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, lysosome, vacuoles and plastids. So students, I want to say that in my video today I shall explain about the structure of the cell in an elongated form so that you can clarify all your doubts about a cell. So basically, let us start with the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is a structure which is a outer membrane of the cell. The plasma membrane has the capacity to pass various chemical substances in and out of the cell. It is the structure which is actually protecting the inside portion of the cell from the outside world. Still, plasma membrane has the capacity to control the transfer of material from inside to outside as well as from outside to inside. Therefore, the plasma membrane is also called the selectively permeable membrane or semi-permeable membrane. The transfer of molecules or chemical substances or any other thing occurs due to the process of diffusion. Here, what happens whenever there is a high concentrated substance is present in any region of the cell, whether it may be outside or inside, it passes from that region to the lower concentration area. For example, if a cell is surrounded with huge amount of water, whereas inside the cell water is found in very less amount, the water from outside enters the cell so that it can balance the situation. Thus, the movement of water is from outside to inside the cell. Whenever a cell is placed in such type of solution, it is called hypotonic solution. When the condition of the cell is like the inside portion of the cell contains the same amount of chemical substance as that present in the outside portion, the situation is called isotonic solution, or the cell is placed in an isotonic solution. When inside a cell a chemical substance is present in huge amount and the outside is having less amount of that chemical substance, it is called hypertonic solution. So this way we get three types of situation, and we found that a cell has the plasma membrane which allows entry or exit of chemical substances, but in a particular direction, that is from higher region of concentration to lower region of concentration. Thus, diffusion is a very important factor as it helps in transfer of molecules. Now the question arises, what is the requirement of transfer of molecules? Students, you must know that a cell requires some gases like oxygen for various purposes like respiration. Oxygen is very much essential. So oxygen enters a cell with this phenomenon of diffusion. Similarly, carbon dioxide which is produced inside the cell is also passed with the help of plasma membrane, and thus the phenomenon of diffusion occurs here also. Similarly, inside our body, whatever chemical substances are produced like enzymes, hormones, etc., these chemical substances are actually synthesized inside the cell and they are carried outside the cell by the process of diffusion. Thus, plasma membrane is very essential to transfer materials in and out of the cell. A plasma membrane is surrounded by a cell wall, which is my next topic. A cell wall is a structure which is very hard in nature and it is found only in plant cells and some bacteria. A cell wall is a structure which is made up of a carbohydrate called cellulose. A cell wall protects a cell 2 times or 3 times more stronger as it is very hard. A cell wall is responsible for transferring of substances but in very less amount. Thus, plant cell contain a cell whereas an animal cell lacks this cell wall. Beside this plasma membrane, a cell contains a liquid portion inside the cell. This liquid portion is called the cytoplasm of the cell. The cytoplasm is the place inside the cell which contains different organelles that perform different function. Among these is the nucleus. The nucleus is known as the brain of the cell. It is a structure which is also covered by a nuclear membrane. Nucleus was first discovered by Robert Brown. So, we can see a nucleus by a compound microscope by treating the cell with some chemical substance. A nucleus is a structure which is having an outer covering that is double layered. Inside the nucleus are found some thread-like structures that are densely packed. So, the nucleus from outside, whenever we see them, seems like it is black in color. This chromatin material divide into smaller pieces during cell division and they are called chromosomes. When they are in normal condition, they are called chromatin material, and when they divide, they are called chromosomes. Basically, in an organism, the number of chromosomes during the cell division is constant and it may vary from organism to organism. These chromosomes have some structures which are also thread-like. They are called DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. These structures have chemical coding in them that are responsible for carrying the characteristics from our parents to us. Thus, a nucleus play an important role in passing the hereditary characters in the form of coding. The nucleus also contain a small spherical structure called NUCLEOLUS. It is responsible for the synthesis of ribosome, which is another organelle that is found in the cytoplasm of the cell. Basically, a cell contains a single nucleus, but in some cases, nucleus is 2 or 3 or more than 3. In animal cell, a big nucleus is found in the center of the cell, whereas in plant cell, due to the presence of a big vacuole, the nucleus is found just near the plasma membrane or in a corner portion. Beside the nucleus is present the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the region which is a liquid content region. This cytoplasm contains various types of small structures that perform different function. These structures are called organelles. For example, a typical cell contains endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, ribosomes, lysosomes, vacuoles, and plastids. So students, one by one, I want to explain all the organelles. First of all, let me explain about endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum is a large network of membrane-bound tube-like structures or sheets, we can say. It looks like tube-like structures that are surrounding the nucleus. These tube-like structures are responsible for synthesis of various chemical substances. The endoplasmic reticulum, according to their appearance, are of two types. The first type is rough endoplasmic reticulum and the second one is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum contains ribosomes in its boundary and thus they are called rough endoplasmic reticulum or RER in short. The presence of ribosome in their structure helps the synthesis of protein. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is responsible for synthesis of fats. Thus, both the two types of endoplasmic reticulum are performing their own function and providing us huge amount of protein and fats. The produced or synthesized chemicals are then passed with the help of their own tubules to other organelles just near the plasma membrane. The next organelle is the Golgi apparatus, which was discovered by Camillo Golgi. The Golgi apparatus is also membrane bound, vesicle like or bag like structure. These membranes are connected to the endoplasmic reticulum and thus they perform the function of collecting the chemical substances that are synthesized in the endoplasmic reticulum and storing them or else sending them near the plasma membrane for their transfer. The Golgi apparatus is also essential for the formation of lysosomes, which is another organelle. So let me discuss about the next organelle, that is the mitochondria. The mitochondria is structure which are present in 2 to 3 or more than 2 to 3 numbers in the cell depending upon their necessity. Mitochondria are the structure which are very essential for the production of energy. Students, please recall that from early studies we know that we get energy from food. Where does the energy comes from? The food is digested by our digestive system and absorbed inside the body. It is passed by the blood vessels to different parts of the body. The food molecules, which are very small in nature, after the digestion of the food molecules, enters the cell and they are able to enter the mitochondria. The mitochondria have special type of enzymes that help in the breakdown of these food molecules and produce energy from them. There are various steps of breaking down this food molecule to produce energy. Thus, the production of energy occurs that are found in the form of ATP. ATP has the full form adenosine triphosphate. It is a packet of energy which is produced by the mitochondria from the food molecules. Thus, mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell as it provide lots and lots of energy by breakdown of the food molecule. Similarly, there are some other organelles like lysosomes, vacuoles and plastids. Lysosome is another organelle which is responsible for eating up the portion of the cell which is not required or the entire cell. It is very much true that lysosome can eat up its own cell. Whenever a cell is unable to survive, that means it has come to an end or the function is not performed by it. In that case, the cell is dead. Whenever this type of condition take place, the lysosome break down and these structures contain some enzymes that can eat up its own cell. Thus, lysosome has the function of cleaning up the cell which is not required by our body. In this way, it helps to provide the space which is required by a new cell to develop itself. Another organelle is present in the cell called the vacuoles. Vacuoles are small structures that are also membrane bound. The vacuoles are small in case of animal cell and big in case of plant cell. Vacuoles are responsible for storage of some chemical substances that are synthesized inside the cell. In cases of some microorganisms, vacuoles are responsible for digesting food, as for example in case of amoeba. Vacuoles are also responsible for expelling excess amount of water and also waste material that are produced by the cell. Thus, we can say that vacuoles are storage bags required by the cell in different functions. Let me talk about the plastid, which is the last organelle of the cell. Plastids are structures which are generally found in plant cells and in some blue-green algae. Plant cells have these structures, whereas animal cells do not have these structures. Plastids are structures that are membrane bound and they contain pigments. Students, let me tell you the meaning of the term pigment. What is pigment? Pigments are colored substances that has the capacity to hold energy or capture huge amount of energy. Plastids are of two types. Number 1, chromoplast, and number 2 are leucoplast. The chromoplast are the structures that are colored plastids and leucoplast are the structures that are white or colorless plastids. Plastids contains pigments, as I told you earlier. Basically, in a plant cell, inside the cell, the plastids which are found contains huge amount of chlorophyll. So students, all of you know the function of chlorophyll. It captures the sunlight so that it can perform photosynthesis. The energy required by the plant is obtained from the sunlight, which is captured by the chlorophyll that is present inside the chromoplast type of plastid. The structure plastid contains some layered structures that are called stroma. Plastids are of same structure as that of mitochondria. A very important point about plastid is that it contains its own DNA similar to mitochondria. So students, I want to say that except the nucleus, two other organelles are there that contain their DNA. Although the function of these DNA is not similar with that of the DNA which is found in the nucleus. Still, the two organelles that contain DNA are plastids and mitochondria. So basically students, the chapter is over as I have explained all the organelles which are there in the NCERT book. To study the cell, we need to study what are prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Let me remind you one thing. Prokaryotic means very primitive. So students, when the evolution of life took place on our earth, the prokaryotic cells came first or evolved first from different chemical substances, and thus the formation of these cells were incomplete. So a prokaryotic cell is quite different to an eukaryotic cell. A prokaryotic cell is very small in nature, whereas eukaryotic cells are big in size. The prokaryotic cell lack a typical nucleus. The nuclear content, that is the DNA or RNA, is present in the cytoplasm but in naked form. There is no nuclear membrane to bind it inside it, and it gets mixed in the cytoplasm. The region where the nuclear content is found is called the nucleoid. Whereas in case of eukaryotic cell, a typical nucleus is present inside which the nuclear content is found, that is the chromatin material and the nucleolus. In a prokaryotic cell, all the membrane bound organelles are absent, whereas a eukaryotic cell contains all the membrane bound organelles that I have explained in the video, that is the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, lysosome, everything. The prokaryotic cell contains chromosomes which are single stranded, basically, that is single strand or single thread of chromatin material is present, whereas eukaryotic cell contains more number of chromosome, double stranded chromosomes that are responsible for doing their function. So basically student, after explaining the chapter, it is my duty to finish up the chapter with a small topic called the cell division. Cell division is the process in which a cell typically divides itself into two so that a new cell can develop. It is of two types. A normal cell divide into two, which is known as mitosis, and a reproductive cell divide itself into two, which is called meiosis. In a mitotic type of cell division, the chromosome number is maintained as the exact copy of the parent cell is done, and the daughter cell is actually doubled. So it is required that the chromosome number must remain the same, whereas in case of meiotic cell division, the chromosome number is divided into two equal parts, that is whatever is the chromosome number, it divides into two equal halves. So I want to say that cell division is also very essential because it helps the organism to develop or to grow properly. So students, I think in the entire chapter, with the help of the pictures given and my explanation, the doubts are cleared. Moreover, I can say that if you want, you can comment me various questions, and you can also email me for doubt clarification as well as for the provision of notes. That's all in this video. Thank you. Please stay tuned to get my upcoming videos. Please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. You can also ask me some questions or can clear your doubt by typing in the comment box. That's all for today. Thank you.